One, two, and three. Hi everyone. I am back with one of my friend who has prepared really well for the interview process, and he has also applied for so many different companies. And I think he's really good at algorithmic interviews. So I thought, why don't I introduce you guys to you, and he can give us some suggestions on how does he approaches the interview preparations, and how does he cracks the interview. By the way, he does has cracked so many interviews, and he has multiple offers on the hand. So if something he says, you should guys definitely look out. So his name is Ramesh, and I'm going to give him a stage now. Ramesh, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and say something about yourself?
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Ramesh Kran. I've been working with Deloitte for last 6 years, and recently I have been active in the market for a new job search. It is more on the to have some specific or say change in domain and some new technology experience. So I have been active in a job search for like quite a while, maybe 5 to 6 months. And yeah, as Nemes mentioned, there have been multiple options or say opportunity I got or offer, but it's not always the offer. All the offer you are gonna accept. It's more like what you want to do. So it depends on if the offer has say multiple criteria, like the technology you are going to work. If they have all those things, and even the compensation is one of the key
Yes.
aspect before you accept any offer.
Yeah.
So I believe we will be talking on those things
Yes.
in further discussion.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah,
as Ramesh said, yes, offer is just not a single number. A candidate like Ramesh evaluates many different things when he accepts the offer. So, Ramesh, very first thing when we encounter is I was a part of the Deloitte. Me and Ramesh worked, I think, 2 years together. And why don't you address the real pain points when you try to do a job search? Yes, what happens when you try to move out of the company like Deloitte? Yes, we are not trying to diminish the value of the Deloitte here, but we are just trying to compare these both markets are totally different. So we are just going to look at the culture within the Deloitte itself, and we are trying to compare the tech companies. So why don't you just say a few things about and how did you get out of that mindset and start preparing something?
yeah, sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, Deloitte is obviously a branded company, and he has a lot of folks working at a Deloitte for sure. But again, regardless of the company you are working, even if, when it comes to the say tech company like Google or Facebook, people even comes out of those companies due to once there will be certain threshold in a life. Once you feel okay, I'm sort of done with this one. So that could be one. If you feel financially I'm not growing, the other could be when you see technically you are not getting challenged and you're kind of doing same day-to-day work, and you feel like a more like a machine rather than being a human where you can think different scenarios and you
Yeah.
can implement things which you like.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was a more for me. It was more like I have been doing for a while. It's the same job I'm doing on repeated basis.
Yeah.
So I had a more motivation on to have some say hands-on experience with the different techs, and especially with the different domain. And when we compare say Deloitte with the other tech company or the product-based company, yeah, that's a quite different experience being working at Deloitte, as it's a more consulting company.
Yes.
So you would be more targeting on the client's requirement rather than implementing your own thoughts or say what you want to do.
Yeah. On your
So
apps.
that's some constraint we have working at Deloitte. But again, yeah, Deloitte is a good company. I'm not,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, we are not gonna say any bad thing about the company. It's just personal preference.
Yes. So one thing we do mention is if you are starting your career and you are just looking for the jobs, Deloitte might be the perfect place for you where you can just join, and these guys will give you an overview of how the technology used to work. I say used to work. They are not the market leader when it comes to adopting the technology, because all the clients they have is government clients, and governments is I think the last one to move ahead when the technology adopts in the market. So I think that's the one of the key reason where they are not keen towards implementing new technologies. Yes. So there is a two different these companies fall into two different totally markets, where one is totally governed by the governments and their own contracts, and the tech companies are writing their own products. And I
Yeah.
completely agree with the Ramesh that sometimes we do feel while we are working for these companies that I want to work on a product which is completely new. Yes, millions of people are using it, and those kind of challenges comes with a new opportunities and new learning opportunities. We would learn so many different tech which is currently in the market, and I think that's the one of my motivation reason was to move out of the company and look for the different companies. And I think similar reasons just Ramesh said. So first thing, when you guys are trying to explore the different opportunities, find out your reasons. Yes, and
Yeah.
from there you should move on. So
Yeah,
Ramesh, why?
that's true.
Yeah.
Just to add on top of that one, I mean, whenever we try to switch a job, or say whenever we are searching for a new job, it's better always to have a one key reason why you want to switch a job. It's not it should not be just randomly. Okay, I'm trying something, and
Mm-hmm.
if I get something, I'll switch.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work in a that way. It's better to have some specific reason. Okay, if you want to have a, say, salary increment, that's one reason could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad reason, but that could be a one.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to change your working domain, or want to have some different experience, that should be sort of, so you will have some certain domain. Okay, if you want to have some certain domain experience, then you will be targeting certain companies. You don't be like randomly targeting all the company. So
Yeah.
you'll have a certain search criteria. I feel.
Yes. So I think we should talk about the elephant in the room is how do you start preparing? So you have been working
Yeah.
for a while and you are actually out of the touch with these new algorithms and all this stuff. Why don't you shed some
Yeah.
light on it?
Yeah, so that was a quite challenging for me when being say almost 6 years. Once I joined Deloitte, then I was like maybe I was a more lazy, I would say. So I never basically look for any particular jobs, and I was so and with the, say, most of the, I mean, when you are working for so long time for a same project specifically, you kind of know most of the in and out. So you don't,
Yes.
most of the time you don't have to learn something new, and whenever then problem comes, you almost know where could be issue, and you can solve that one. So it's easy, you become comfortable in that zone, but the downside of that one is you're not learning anything, and then you kind of forget the, say, habit of learning new thing. And that was the main challenge I faced when I started doing a job search. So first, when even I think about that one, the first challenge was to what kind of company I am trying to, and then I came up with certain field of companies, say some tech company or the product based company was the more of the range. Then the problem was I needed to figure out the type of question they asked. So one common thing, obviously, most of them had was they go with the algorithm, data structure, algorithm, those things. So obviously, preparing for those was one of the hectic job. I mean, I used to have a good knowledge on the algorithm, I know, but again, that used to be,
It
and
used to
now
be.
once you are getting the field, so it's like which used to be is gone. So it's like we are starting from the scratch.
Yes. Yes.
So I actually, I mean, I get touch with especially you and Pramod. So we started working together on the basically on the lead course for algorithm. I even read a one algorithm book, Introduction to Algorithm.
Oh yes.
So that's I followed to get some refresh on the algorithm,
Yes. Me
and
too.
obviously the elementary of programming. So those two are a key book I refer most of the time, and then mostly with the lead code and some here and there like Career Cup or those things for a practice purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, it's always, even when we consider the algorithm, it's good to, I mean, it may be my recommendation, and it doesn't apply to everyone, but it's good to have some brush up before you jump in on the practice.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So I completely agree, and I think Elements of Programming is widely recommended book for the freshers, for the people who are trying to join or trying to crack this programming or algorithmic questions. So go check that out, and both of us has read it. I'm definitely sure Pramod has read it. So if a lot of people are on our field is doing the similar things, you should also try to look at it. Just come out of your own bias and just give it a shot and see if you like it. And now I wanna ask you a question. How long did you prepare? And this is one of the
Yeah,
battle everyone faces. Yes, we thought we would be able to crack the interviews in 2 weeks by just.
that's yeah. I mean, that's a pretty complicated question. I mean, when we consider a timeline, especially when you are working a full time and you are kind of having a hectic job, like it's not an 8 hour job. You might have a long hours as well. So, I mean, it's not a straight answer, to be honest, but at least when you are preparing and especially when you are out for a long
Yeah.
period of time. So at least for me, it took, I would say, just doing a brush up, it went for a month, almost a month or more than a month, I guess. Like just doing a brush up, not the practice at all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more on the brush up side. And then you start with the like basic algorithm and those stuff. So it normally take you almost 2 months when you feel okay, I'm kind of confident, okay, I can crack some sort of like maybe not a hard but medium to hard questions.
Yeah.
You will be confident enough. So yeah, that period was I would say 1.5 months to 2 months.
Yeah. So this thing, I have faced it also, that initially, not this year or not the year before, I've been practicing or trying to crack interviews for so many long, that when initially I started it, I just went into the problem, I read the solution. I never implemented it. So how did you do it, and what when did you decide I should have to have some hands-on coding experience?
So yeah, I mean, initially I tried a similar like the mistake, maybe or not a mistake. I mean, I think even that's a better idea. So initially I used to go into the lead code and try to go through the question. So I even look into, as you mentioned, right? I even look into some medium. I tried some medium, like for some question I did like I even tried for multiple days. So before looking to the solution, I used to look into the. So say I tried for a couple of hours, I was not able to solve. That question will be in my mind even I have any say I'm on a break or any time. So the one maybe that was my mistake maybe initially. So one mistake I used to do was I don't used to go on the solution. So it's I felt like if I'm looking a solution, then that's something I'm doing a bad. But that's something actually I did a bad not to look at a solution.
You were
So the
wrong
good
in.
idea, I mean, even I would recommend if anyone is preparing for an interview, give it a try, like an hour or an hour. I mean, maybe half an hour or an hour, like proper time, not like okay, I just look at it and that's it. So give it like almost an half hour or an hour to a question. If you feel you are not still able to find how you can resolve that one, like not the implementation but the idea how you can resolve, then better try to look for a solution and then try some new problem with the similar complexity.
Yeah.
So that gives like next time you will have some idea.
That's a good
Or if
suggestion.
you keep solving the same problem, you will be wasting a time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I also used to thought that once I have the solution implemented, mine is the Bible, mine is the
Yeah.
best. No, that you are
So
completely wrong. You go and
yeah,
find out how many people has attempted the same problems from so many different ways. You'll be surprised that there are so many ways to solve the same problem, and everyone,
yeah,
and you know everyone says in our community that the same problem can be solved from the 1000 different
ways.
attack points, and but when you try to do it, you you think
Yeah.
that okay, this is the only solution possible, there are no other ways around, and then you
Yeah.
blindsided
Then you
yourself from the
find
best thing out there.
yep, and
Yeah.
then you find something better solution, and you will be like, oh wow, it can be solved in this
Yes.
easiest way.
Yeah.
So that's true. But yeah, to be honest, when we are working, it's best to find one solution rather than stuck on finding like better approach and then try to implement. It's a good to implement some solution and then try to optimize that one.
Yes, Definitely, definitely.
So in that way it becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
So even for me, coming back to our original question,
Mm-hmm.
so even I used to originally try like say a medium and hard question, and as initially I used to stuck on the especially on the medium to hard question.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time when I used to, for even for a couple of days, I used to stuck on the question. And then later I realized that maybe not a better approach. So
Yeah.
even when we used to discuss the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, right, it's not a good idea to
Mm-hmm.
just stuck on a question. So we used to give a try for like hour or maximum an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't find if we are not able to find a solution, if any three of us is able to find, we used to discuss
Yeah.
their approach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If none of us are able to find, then we used to go for a solution, and we try to discuss if we can explain the solution.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
at least we know how the things, I mean, the
Yeah.
problem
Mm-hmm.
works. So it's so initially the to summarize my approach, right? So in initial phase, I used to try, I used to fail more often. Then I had at least a gist idea what sort of a problem could be. Then I actually then that was a time when I went back and did a algorithm fresher. So like that helped me to get, okay, when I am going through the algorithms, so I know where I could be implementing these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point of time, I had a actual practical idea where I'm going to implement, and
Yeah.
then I'm going through the refresher.
Mm-hmm.
Then I come back to the algorithm again. So
Yes.
that was a back and forth approach I
Yeah.
used.
You, if you are starting really fresh, these are the lessons you will learn by doing mistakes. You have to fail, and then you realize you are not doing right things, and then you come up or end up into the new solutions. You keep doing it, and until you perfect the this entire process. So I completely agree with you that this happens. So now I say you have done preparation for 3 months or 4 months. You're ready, and what do you do now?
Interviews.
Yes.
So so once you are confident enough that you can at least tackle the medium, at least a medium level question,
Mm-hmm.
then it's the point when you now try to look for a companies.
Mm-hmm.
So the key when we are looking for a company, I mean, ideally it's better not to go randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least have some sort of plan, like which company you prefer. I mean, obviously there are some time when you may accept some offer from any company if they are paying a good compensation,
Mm-hmm.
but still that's a separate discussion.
Yeah.
But still try to focus on certain area of company, like if you are inclined toward a tech companies, it's not just a FANG. There are tons of tech companies
Mm-hmm.
who interview maybe less complicated, or say not that on level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the core thing is try to uh, squeeze your search area in certain ways, so it would be easier for you to find certain company.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a tech company, go for those. If it's a fintech, go for those kind of. So we'll have a certain domain of search area.
Mm-hmm.
So once we find those, it's a more frequent, or say the commonly used platform is the LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So one
Definitely.
thing, even LinkedIn Premium is obviously the one useful thing, which gives you some insight of the search. And one best feature it gives you is you can personally message some of the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I see not all the job description will have the email option,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the or say good companies normally they give a recruiter detail, and you should be able to email them if you have a premium.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's a better way not just to apply.
Mm-hmm.
If you can reach out to the recruiter individually, that's the best way to apply for a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely,
And
this has helped
yeah,
all of us. I think there was a company Bitgo. Yes, over there we first tried to went into their careers website. All of us applied it. We never got the response from any one of them. But then I think Pramod suggested that he has a premium, and then we all three of us bought the premium. We emailed the person and our resume with some sort introduction to ourselves, and then I
Yeah.
think two of them reached out. It's
Yeah.
another story that I
Yeah.
didn't got it, but it's still a 60% or 66% success rate if you
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, luckily from Bitco, I on the next day I receive a response from the one who I sent an email, and even I received actually the job application as well.
Yeah.
The recruiter even reached out. So but that was a different story. But most of the time, the email is a better option. Even I mean. Maybe not everyone knows, but even the first job with the Deloitte, I have received from Deloitte, LinkedIn only.
Oh, yes, yes. I
So
think, yeah,
so LinkedIn
Pramod.
have been a fortunate for me, maybe.
So see, Ramesh is advocating about also getting a premium, LinkedIn premium. Pramod is also advocating get the LinkedIn premium. Just think about this. Let's say you are in a job market search for 6 months, and by doing this process, you crack an interview and you get $150,000 compensations. And you know the LinkedIn premium is $32. If you continue for 5 months, it will be $150. It would be less than 1% of your entire compensation. So it's completely worth it. Just use for 5 months. Don't after 5 months just cancel it. But you will
Yep.
get so many
Even
interviews.
yeah, even with the like normally it comes with the 1 month trial, and even one thing I noticed with the LinkedIn Premium, like if you try to just continue with this one, they try to charge you like $30, right? But if you try to cancel, they will recounter with the offer of like 2 months of $30
Okay.
something.
So there is
So
another
that's a
trick.
cheat code.
There is another
You can
trick,
try.
yes. And then I
And
think, see, when I started doing this, I was also really not good at cracking the algorithmic questions. But I kept doing it. I kept putting in efforts every day,
yeah,
and all three of us, I think for 2 months we were regularly nine
yeah,
to ten or
meeting up
8 to 12. We were just on the conference call, and we were
and
trying to solve
discussing.
so many questions. Like every day we were trying to do 3 or 4 questions, and that's how
Yeah,
we try to improve ourselves. And even though I was not at all good at all these things, and then I become completely good at implementing the solutions in the interviews. I went to, I think, 4 different companies on-site interviews. It's a completely different uh, uh, it's a completely different side where I haven't cracked any one of them. But even in order to reach to on-site, you have to first give a coder pad, and then if any one of these guys has phone interviews, then you have to probably solve 1 or 2 questions in 45 minutes, and then on-site you have 5 interviews lined up. So think about how many hours of practice you will do by just talking to this interviewers and attempting the solution live. This is an example of prod. Yes, you have been writing these applications for 6 months, and now you have to deploy it in prod, so users will use it. So this is
yeah.
your prod phase. Do this, and
So
and let's address one more thing here, Ramesh. How do you handle the rejections? Yes, we all of us has this
yeah,
beautiful word. This is a love letter for
yeah.
us. Yes.
Yeah, it's a love letter and the breakup letters. Yeah, that's true.
Love letter and breakup letters.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, when we are in the job market, that's something obvious thing we expect. And even that's not something we actually want to expect, but that's the obvious thing we have to come. But so normally, I mean, there are certain phases where we expect or say we want to have rejected. The reason we just try, I mean, apply those companies just for a practice. So sometimes we don't want to have an offer from them, and then later we kind of say get confused. Okay, I'm getting offers. Should I accept or if not?
Yeah, yeah.
So those offers we normally want that. Okay, it's better not to have offer from them. So I would be confused. So those are not a problem. Like you don't get offer from them, you would be like happy. Okay, I did not get offer.
That's good.
But then there comes certain companies where you are like, okay, those are a good company. I wanted to work there, and you got a rejection from there. So those are normally you feel kind of like
Disappointed.
are disappointed, especially because you have put all the efforts to get a company or say the job. You try all. You went through those iterative round of interview, like 5 hours is normally when you are sitting on the chair, it's easy. But when you are or so even if you are working on regular hour, it's easy. Not easy, but comparatively that one.
Comparatively.
But when you are going for a 5 or 4 rounds of continuous interview, that's a kind of you'll be tired
Tough.
mentally.
Yeah, it's tough.
So and then getting a rejection is a disappointed. But one, I mean, it's better to look for a positive point, like why you got rejected is the key. So that will help you improve for the next time. And it's not like your everything went wrong. There might be a key aspect where you did not did a good job. So for me, one of my say targeted company at that point was Credit Karma. They had actually a good projection nowadays,
Yes.
and they are working on a high scale for now. So I was keeping that company as like one of the key selection. I mean, priority company for me. And I got rejected from them just because of there was some confusion during the system design interview, and they felt I was not say
Wasn't able to
match for
perform well.
that, even though my other technical rounds were perfectly good. So I did not expected that rejection at that point of time, but I had a doubt considering my system design did not go as expected. So obviously, the one thing I learned, I mean, the rejection is normally what my say thesis is: either you win or you learn. That's normally I prefer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did not get a job. That's a point. But when I did not got a job, so what was my failure point? So that was the key I wanted to
You
figure
missed
out.
down.
So on next time when I'm attending any interview,
You try
I
to do
won't
that.
be failing on the same point. So it was there was some communication gap between the system design,
Yes.
initial communication gap,
Yeah.
which actually led to the complete miscommunication during the complete design
Yeah.
session.
Yes. Yeah. So this is also a point which I want to touch on. This happened to me, you know. So you have an interview, you get into the call with your interviewer, and you have 45 minutes or 1 hour or you 5 hours of interview, and when you complete it, you know, you are completely confident that, oh man, you cracked it, you know. You are in and you are dreaming of receiving an offer, and you are speculating all those things, but what happens? You get a rejection letter. So you get a breakup letter, and now first thing happens is disappointment that you have done so much effort, and disappointment is normally a good thing, and here you have to try to learn. If you are not trying to do that, otherwise it becomes a bad thing here. So try to learn from all those things and go and speculate what did you do wrong. Try
Yeah.
to imagine your answers, and probably your maybe verbal soft answers and algorithmic answers. Contemplate on all those
Yeah.
things and try to write down some points. So the way Ramesh is doing it,
Even
yeah, I did it,
yeah.
and it helps you.
Even the one good point is depending on the recruiter. I mean, not every recruiter when it comes to rejection, not every recruiter communicate properly, right? But try your best to get the key criteria, or say the reason they are doing a rejection. So that basically gives an idea why where actually we went wrong
Yeah,
during all
yeah.
the process.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point. Talk to interviewer if they do reply. Some of them
yeah.
do, some of them, most of them don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
when it comes to rejection, yeah, that's a really bad impression I saw in the job market, right? When it comes to rejection, they just go blank.
they just go
Like
blank, definitely.
they hardly reply. Most of the companies. I mean, that's something. Even the bigger company, they most of the big like say FANG or good companies, they even however busy they are, they do at least response. You are rejected or with a proper response, right? But most of the company I see, even on the say LinkedIn or the other profile, they don't even bother to respond.
They don't
So
bother to respond. Yeah, but
yeah,
when you're trying to complete the interview, they do ask for the feedback. Yes, maybe you are trying to do this online quadruped. After the quadruped, there is going to be multiple choice questions, so you have to fill how did you do it, what did you felt good. So they hooked you in for their own feedback, but when it's your turn, you
yeah.
are asking them, can you give me some feedback, where did I fail, so I can improve upon the next time. No, no, we
So
don't do that.
it doesn't work in the other way.
Other way around, it doesn't work. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we should talk about you have gone through multiple interviews, yes, and should you have one offer or should you have multiple offer? When do you choose to have multiple offers and just a single offer? Why don't you touch up on that?
Yeah, I mean, I had multiple offer at the point of time.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's always good to have a multiple offer, especially it's easier to negotiate when you have a multiple offer. And yeah, obviously, you are the best person for when it comes to the negotiation, right? And for my point of view, it's only one time where you don't want to have a multiple offer is like
You're desperate.
the company where which one?
We are desperate right out of the college.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll be like you don't want to get confused when you have multiple offers, right? So that may be the one, and the other could be like when you're the job you want to, or say the company you prefer is say paying less, and the other company is paying high, but you don't want to go there because you don't like the tech stack or the company or whatever reason. So now you will be really confused, even though the other is giving you a good compensation, you wanted to go to the other company. So that in those scenarios, when you have multiple options, obviously you will get confused. So you don't want to get in such situation. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But normally, in general scenario, it's always good to have a say multiple offers, so you can negotiate properly.
Yeah.
And it's a key when you have a multiple offer. It's a key for negotiation.
Yes, it's definitely a key for when you're trying to negotiate higher compensations. And I do understand why do you guys don't want to have multiple offer, because first of all, if you have cracked one company, probably you would have multiple rejections before it, so you have went through multiple rounds of it, and now you cracked one of them, and then you are thinking,
You
oh
want to
man.
like
It's not like
yeah.
you crack today and tomorrow if you have another interviews you're going to crack that interview also. No, there is going to be almost a week, because you will have
Yeah,
quarterback, you will have multiple rounds of phone interviews, and then you will have a face-to-face interviews. The entire process might take 20 days. So I completely understand that. I think Ramesh went through this. How he was applying to these companies. He had a first offer in, and then he was worried about it, that these recruiters are trying to push me for the joining date. Yes, and he was worried about it. What will happen if I tell them go wait for another week, and would they reject the offer? That's a completely a false assumption here. Don't do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about your experience here, so anyone else who is going through it, they will learn from it.
Yeah. So I got an offer from one of the company, and I mean, whatever offer they give, and then I asked them a time period. Like basically, I tried to do a counter offer or say negotiation to increase the salary, and they were like, "No, that's the best offer we can give." So I was since the company was good compared to the other offers I had. So, but still, I was just trying to make sure I'm not leaving the money on the table. Like if there is an option, it's always good to increase the amount, obviously.
Yeah.
So because I was not sure, so I give it my best so to increase the amount, and they said like yeah they respect the what I tried, but that's the best they can offer. So I was thinking since the reason was I don't wanted to lose that one because I like the company and the tech. So I was afraid saying, okay, if you're not gonna pay this one, either no or just I will wait for some company, then I will respond to you. Because normally, yeah, if you think if I'm saying someone, I will wait for someone else. If I receive from them, then I will go to there and not to you. If not, then I will come back to you. That's obviously sounds rude when we talk on the personal level, right?
Yeah.
So I had that something like if I would say recruiter or company in a that way, then there may be possibility they may get offended or they might find the offer later.
Yeah.
But yeah, later we discuss on that one, even with you and Pramod. So it's like they normally accept that one. They don't take those words in a negative way, considering we are still considering their offers. So I had a call with the recruiter, and I told them if they are not agreeing to increase the compensation, then I want to wait for a week since I'm waiting on a couple of more offers. So I want to analyze all the offers, and then I will conclude which offer suits me best. Since it's a long-term discussion, right?
Yeah.
It's even my commitment as well as the company's commitment. So I just wanted to make sure we both are compensated well before we agreeing to any
Yes.
position.
Yeah.
So he actually responded well that yeah, he will be waiting for on that one for my response. So I felt confident that yeah, this actually they don't get offended with this
They don't. They
waiting
don't.
time.
Yes. So obviously, you don't have to be arrogant when you are trying to negotiate all these
Yeah.
things, and
Okay.
you should think about this. What is the value? Let's say you as a employee is a value. Let's tie value to our dollars. Maybe you are $100,000, and maybe Ramesh and me both of our companies. So let's say $100,000 tells me that go wait for me for a 1 week. I'll go find another opportunities. If I don't like it, then I'll come back and give you $100,000. Yes. Are you be offended? No, you are never going to be offended. So think about when you are trying to apply for this company, you are going to create a value for these companies over the long period of time. Maybe even you stay there for 1 year, 2 years, you especially create a value for it, because is
Yeah.
all these public companies show that they have this many employees, they have completed this many softwares, and they have contributed to revenues, so they are never going to
Yeah.
be offended. So you should change your mindset when you are trying to negotiate. So
And even one point there is, I mean, when the company offers you any say job offer, that means they already believe you are a capable person.
yes.
So when you say you are waiting on other opportunity, then obviously they would accept, considering even I believe they might be internally should be happy, like after that you are considering their offer is because you are capable of getting other offers as well.
Yeah.
And then out of all the offers you are accepting their offer, then they should be actually proud of that one.
They
That's something
definitely.
a positive point.
Yes, that's an opposite point, that
Yeah.
you did evaluated multiple offers, and then
Yeah.
you still
We
choose
might be
them.
thinking the other way for the same point.
Cool. Now let's talk about a taboo topic just in our culture, money. Yes, when you try to negotiate more money, what did you do, and what do you suggest everyone else to do?
So yeah, that's something unfortunate. Like most of the offers I got were like stick on the they were kind of, I don't know, running out of budget or what. All were like had a best offer online.
Mm-hmm.
And so for even for the one I accepted, they said they had the best offer.
Mm-hmm.
And the normal norm is we can go. So first norm, I mean, whenever we try to negotiate a salary,
Mm-hmm.
the best option is to negotiate on the base salary,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the say most important part in your compensation say package, and that's something iterative.
Mm-hmm.
It gets repeated every time, every year. So that's something you want to focus on first priority.
Mm-hmm.
And so some company has a certain limits. They don't go beyond that base salary. Like even for my company, that was a scheme. They said they are already on the higher end, so they cannot go beyond that one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
then it comes to the multiple factors. Which thing you prioritize? Like still normally if it's the money, then we normally go with the, if we can increase anything, say like a sign-on bonus or anything, as a if they are paying, if the company is willing to pay say some equity or something, those are a good thing to negotiate on the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And even the company is say out of those options, say some company even doesn't do nowadays. The one thing I noticed, like nowadays some of the company try not to go for sign-on bonus. Still they do equity, but they don't go with the sign-on bonus.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if the trend might have been changed, but that's the fact.
Mhm.
Then the other factor is once you are done with those, most of the company you can negotiate with the like PTO hours or work flexibility, and
Yeah.
some is small, like you can ask for some, if you are working remote, you can ask for some perks like Wi-Fi bill, blah blah, and
Yes.
those
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
For me, PTO was not a I mean negotiation point, considering they offer unlimited PTO, like open policy.
Mhm.
So that's policy something it's even a positive sometimes, it depending on the you like how you work in the team, right? So and the person who approves that one.
Mm-hmm.
So that if your communication is good and the management is good, it's actually plus point. You'll have you can take a PTO whenever
Yeah.
you want.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if it's the management is not good, like they are not keen to give a PTOs, then you are like you are just uh, squeeze out. You hardly will have a time to get a PTOs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's something depend. So I mean, yeah, maybe I did not personally. I might not have done pretty good on compensation negotiation part,
Mm-hmm.
but those are the key. Normally, we should
Yeah.
be targeting when we are in a job market. Because
Yes.
one key thing we should negotiate. The reason is it whenever we go or say we are going to accept a job, that's the best time you can ask for a money, like a higher price. Once you accept offer, you are an employee. It's a regular process, and there may be hike. Obviously, they do a salary hike and other steps depending on the company, but those would be negligible compared to the what you initially asked.
Initially
So
guided.
it's a best chance you can ask for higher money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing I want to point out is someone calls you. Let's say HR is calling you and they gave you a number. It's not compulsory to accept it on the call.
Yeah,
Wait
that's
for
true.
wait
That
for so many
even
wait for
yeah,
so many
even
days.
not just a compulsory. Even try not to accept on the call. Like you can say, yeah, you it sounds good, but take your time. You will be taking time. You can say whatever reason, like you want to check with the family before confirming, or you want to go with, because the offer is not just a one number like a salary, right? There will be a lot of terms and conditions. So you obviously want to preview everything before you say yes. So always good considering so some people think I will say verbally yes, and later I will say because I did not like something, I will change my mind.
Yeah,
So that's never a good
that's
practice.
not good.
So you don't say yes upfront to keep your word, because word normally with the most of the places, especially in the US, word is something
Verbal contract.
key to build your reputation.
Yes, it's a verbal binding
So
between two
yeah.
individuals. So once you
So
say yes, yeah,
even you verbally accept, it's almost you have accepted that one.
yes,
So try not to accept upfront without reviewing your offer. That's even it's not only for a negotiation, but it's good even you agree with the given compensation, still don't accept on the verbally without reviewing the complete offer.
and I wanna point out to you guys is you guys will think they are giving me an offer. Would they wait? Would they wait for me to come back to them? Yes, they will definitely wait. You know how many hours they have spent on you. Someone would have some HR person is constantly looking at your profile. He's trying to arrange the interview with their own engineers, and then when you go for on-site, couple of managers were involved into this entire process. They actually spent some time which questions they will ask. There is so many hours has been spent on you, and all of these employees are their salary based employees. Yes, so company is paying them. So if you try to evaluate an hour, an hour spent on you might be a $50. So do you think when you complete an interview, they might have at least spent you $5,000 on you by their own employee contributing 1 hour here and there and this entire process? So they will definitely wait. They'll wait for months. They'll wait for weeks. And even when you reject it, they'll come back after 2 weeks and they will say, have you changed your mind? And they will keep sending you an email. And then let's say right now they might also tell you this, that they have this limitation on the salary package. Yes, so they might upfront reject you now, and then you might have a different offer and then
Yeah.
you accepted it. But when they change the policy and after a month they'll send you an email that now we have changed the policies, would you be able to accept our offers now? I have seen this, not with Pramod and the Ramesh, but a couple of friends. They have gone through this process. They're working for different companies, and they have a successful record that Ramesh was a really skilled resource. He was able to crack all the interviews, and there are very few people in the job market who can go through this laborious and tough process and come out through other end. And they'll keep your record that if tomorrow we want to hire someone, then Ramesh is the best guy. So they'll keep
Yeah.
dropping you emails going forward. So keep this thing in mind. They will definitely wait for you, and think through it. Never. I always say to one every my friend, when they ask for this compensation discussions, from very day one, you never tell them the number. They'll try to coerce you. Okay, they'll try to convince you. They'll try to each employee might ask you the same questions in every different ways. You never tell them the number. Your job is to crack the interview fabulously, and you have all the chips on your favor. Now you are the king. Once you are gone through all this process, you are the king, and you can pressure them that you want this much money and you want this much equity. You also want PTOs and all those things. Yes.
Yep.
So that's what all of us recommend. Okay. Now maybe the last
And obviously this interview process is obviously, even we felt like we are doing all the hard work. It's actually a two-way process. Even they do everything from their end to make sure they are getting a right candidate, because they even want not to hire everyone else. Otherwise, they don't need to go through this rigorous process of the interview, right?
Yeah, yes.
So they on their end, they are trying to make sure everything is good. Like they try to filter out, they try to analyze you on all the aspect they can think. Then you are able to say crack the interview. That means they know, okay, you are the guy they want to hire.
Yeah.
So obviously they want to wait for you because they know you are the guy who can work for them.
Yeah, definitely. So
And maybe the tougher the interview process, the higher your priority would be in the company.
yeah, the tougher the interview questions, so tougher the interview process, you would be highly evaluated and valued employee for themselves. Yes. So I think we covered how do you set your mindset for preparing the interviews. Yes, Ramesh suggested put hours, do brush up before you jumping into the questions. Yes, prepare algorithms upfront, smaller algorithms, easy questions, and then you try to do hands-on coding. And Ramesh also suggested.
And even on that one was like once we have a certain company in mind, try to have some maybe like there are mock interviews obviously, but try to have some real company to have an interview practice.
Yes.
Like you can apply on some medium level companies to just to have a practice where you would be accepting a rejection, or maybe if you accept get an offer, you might be rejecting them because you don't want to work with them. But you will have a real time practice
Yeah.
before going for a proper or say big companies.
Yes. I always suggest, let's say you want to join Amazon. Yes. So before Amazon, you should have at least practiced the similar interview process with some different companies, 3-4 companies.
Yeah.
Then you should go for your star, your
Yeah.
favorite company, and then you should be able to do really well. I have done this when I started doing all this fresh interviews. I went for the good companies which I want to work for, and I was never able to complete the quadruped or maybe phone calls. Yes, and then they block you for a year, and then you have to, and you get disappointed. You start blaming yourself. You think about, oh man, I am not the cutout for this process, and I'm gonna stick with my company, and you still regret your decisions. And again, after
even sometimes the actual disappointment comes when you get a question, you know the solution, but you won't be able to complete just because you did not had a proper practice. So that's the worst disappointment you will feel there. And that's obviously because of the lack of practice.
Yeah, we have gone through this. Yes, I regret my last interview where I thought I solved everything, and I don't know what happened, and I was rejected. So me personally regret the opportunity there. Ramesh had the similar opportunity with the same company. He went through both rounds of interviews. He still thought that he was able to crack the interviews, but something went somewhere wrong, and we still don't know what happened. So this happens, and for this kind of an opportunity, you will be disappointed. You will regret what happened, and then you will be try to go away from the interview process. You just want to keep working for the same company. That's not the right choice. You should keep moving forward, even though after many rejections.
Yeah, rejection should be taken as a opportunity for learn. Like you learned something there. You had a say interview. You actually had a practice session, you can say, as
Mm-hmm.
rather having other mock interviews, right? That's an actual practice session. And you normally, when we go into interviews, your brain would be working in like tirelessly. So that's the actual practice session for you. So
Yes.
even though you got rejected, that's you can take something out of there.
Mm-hmm.
How
Definitely.
you,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So I think we covered almost all the topics. Before we go, Ramesh, do you wanna say anything to our audience? Maybe just 5-10 people are watching it, but it would be our friends. But tell them something motivational.
I mean, whoever is going for a job search, I mean, you can be confident if you put your time. It's not something like out of the box you won't be able to achieve. Even if I can do it, say Nemesh can do it, if Pramod can do it, then obviously you can do it. It's just we have to be a continuous or say consistent with our practice and try with the better company.
Yeah.
And always when we are applying for a company, try to make sure that company you want to work for. Just try not to randomly apply for any company and later you again regret, oh,
Yes.
why I did it came in this company. I had a better job in the other company itself.
Yes,
So
definitely.
it's a better to go check for the company profile also when you are applying for a company.
Yes. Yep. So
And
good
yeah,
suggestion, man.
and best of luck.
Best of luck. Now, enough. Usually at the end of the video, I ask my audience to subscribe and like. Why don't you tell them to do that for me?
Yeah, please like and subscribe. Jai Baba is our favorite Baba.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the brand new video, and until then, bye.
Bye.